How do you deal with someone who thinks they are just entitled to everything? How do you deal with someone who thinks the world owes them something or everything? What do you do? That's what we're talking about today, queenbeing.com. Let's get started. My name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. So we could probably all think of someone in our lives who has brought something amazing to us. Positivity, some good knowledge, a sense of joy, anything good, right? But then there are those people like narcissists who kind of leave us hanging, kind of make us feel like, a lot. They kind of make us feel miserable. In my opinion, one of the most difficult things about dealing with a narcissist in the beginning is the sense of entitlement. After a while, you kind of get used to it and you almost fall into helping them to nurture that sense of entitlement if you're stuck in a relationship with one. Like we talked about yesterday, narcissists act entitled pretty often, even when they're not really entitled. They're kind of wrongfully entitling themselves, right? They think that the world owes them something. They feel entitled because they don't know how else to feel. Let's put it that way. You can get the details on that in this video. Most people, probably including you, understand that there are certain things in life that we have to kind of wait for, or that we don't get right away, or that we have to earn. Narcissists, as we know, they don't quite feel that way most of the time. It's like they don't know they're not supposed to feel that way. So when you run into one of these people, it totally blows your mind, right? So how do you deal with these people? One thing you can do is to work on keeping your head level. Now that feels really hard because you're like, are you freaking kidding me with this, right? But there are some things you can do to manage to keep a level head and not indulge the narcissist. So we're going to talk about those right now. I remember when I got with my ex and we moved into a place together, there was a moment at which he asked me for money for a soda. Now that doesn't seem like a big deal, but I didn't happen to have any change on me at that time. And I was kind of annoyed that he was even asking because we just spent all our money on this new place, right? It was entitlement. He got upset with me. He pouted, acted like a big baby because I didn't have $1 for a soda. I just didn't have the cash. My initial reaction was to get upset, get angry. Like, how dare you? How dare you, act this way to me? Because I hadn't experienced that from someone I was dating up to this point. So when we're talking about non-narcissists, regular people, if you're dealing with people that seem to have an unearned sense of entitlement, the best thing you can do with these people is to just try to find something positive about them, even if it's just the smallest thing, and focus on that thing. Because ultimately, their sense of entitlement might be just a little bit annoying to you. But when we're talking about a narcissist, especially when you're in a relationship with, it's going to feel a lot more personal to you. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is don't waste your time trying to change that person. Because you and I both know that doesn't work. Narcissists, they don't change. But here's the thing, it's not your fault that they don't change, and it's okay that they don't change. Believe it or not. So instead of focusing on that person, focus on yourself during those moments and the good things you're doing in your own life. Anytime you're around somebody who is acting entitled or acting like they deserve more than you or that the world owes them something, the best thing you can do is change your own vibration so that it doesn't sort of rub off on you, right? So for example, think of something that makes you really happy, or try to understand the sense of entitlement. But understand this, really, ultimately, you should not indulge the narcissist's sense of entitlement. And we've all made the mistake. I spent a long time trying to make sure that my narcissist got the things to which he felt entitled. And that makes your life harder when you do that. And also, it's an exercise in frustration because just because they think they're entitled to it doesn't mean they really are, my friend. You have to remember that with a narcissist, feeling entitled is sort of a mask for feeling insecure, feeling inadequate, feeling not good enough. So if you need to deal with them during this time and you must handle them so that they're not all up in your business, here are some things you can do. First of all, you can praise them. I know that feels difficult, but if you're still dealing with the narcissist in your home, if you throw a little praise their way, it goes a long way. The next thing you can do is if you do have to discuss anything with them that is potentially upsetting, make sure you try to avoid criticizing them and don't add any blame to your comments. Unless you absolutely have to, don't take the sort of adversarial position with a narcissist ever, because it doesn't work. They just shut down and start going back into their own little world of entitlement. So if you agree with something they're doing, verbalize that. If you must criticize after verbalizing something good that they're doing as tactfully as possible. So maybe you can ask them questions such as, so where are we meeting in this? Or are we on the same page here? Even better, I'm on the same page with you if you're talking about a narcissist. Or what could I do to help you make this better? Something like that. Is there some service I can get you? Is there something I can do to make your life better? You want to kind of encourage the idea that you're on their side, you're on their team. They always appreciate that. But what if you can't agree on something? What if it's just a matter of the narcissist asking you for something that asking you to agree to something, or asking you for validation on something that is not acceptable? At that point, if you're still dealing with the narcissist, you could acknowledge their emotions, and you could say something like, so it sounds like you'd really like to go in another direction with this. Is that right? And when the narcissist somehow begins to feel like you're hearing him or her, the tension and conflict can be reduced. However, you have to understand that if you are approaching a narcissist with this empathetic approach, this non-adversarial approach, sometimes it will help them to stop being defensive and start, working with you as a team. But let's be honest, in most cases, at least half of the cases, narcissists are unlikely to actually change anything they're doing. So it's almost like you have to manipulate them into being a nice person. And I don't want to talk about that because everybody gets real upset with me when I start talking about that stuff. The point is, you need to figure out a way to deal with the anger and the hostility if you're still in the situation. Now, your other option, as always, is to gray rock, is to not tolerate it. And if I'm being real with you, I grew up believing that I deserved nothing, or that I should only just take the least that I could get, the smallest, the cheapest, the oldest thing I could find. You know what I'm saying? And as time went on, I learned that I have a right to have nice things if I want to have nice things, and I am entitled to that if I choose to earn those things or work toward those things. And I think the difference here is that a narcissist doesn't think they need to work for anything. And a narcissist feels entitled just because they exist. The fact is, no matter what you do, a narcissist with entitlement issues is never going to be happy, ever. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, they just won't be happy because they're not happy in themselves. It's like they've got a big giant hole in the place where their soul should be sometimes, and you can't fill it. It's unfillable. They have an agenda. If you have something they want, they'll feel entitled to it. There's a man that I know who gave his fiance a beautiful diamond ring. It was one he could afford. Imagine that. And she did accept his proposal, but soon after that proposal was accepted, she started bitching about the ring. It's not good enough. It's not big enough. So-and-so has a better ring than me. How dare you buy me such a cheap little ring? And in his mind, he loved her and he spent as much money as he could comfortably spend on it. And since they had already had a child together, she was kind of out of line, if you ask me. Well, the thing is, when you have a red flag like this, such blatant entitlement, you can really use that to look into your future. And this man realized this girl's never going to be okay with anything. And so eventually they decided not to get married, even though they had a child together, which sometimes is the best case scenario because I'm pretty sure he didn't have enough money for her and she didn't have enough kindness for him. You see, if you're with someone like that, someone who has entitlement issues, a narcissist or not, you want to ask yourself, what is it that is driving me to stay with this person? And you want to ask yourself, where did this person's entitlement issues come from? We talked yesterday quite a lot about that, but there are some other possibilities. Maybe they came from a poor background. Maybe they were broke as a joke when they were kids and they feel this need to make up for it today. Maybe they've been watching too much TV and they think they need to be like Kim Kardashian and all her people. The bottom line is that a sense of entitlement that is unearned is one that comes from a very deep place of pain. And so if you want to deal with someone in your life who has this sense of entitlement, such as a narcissist, you can begin to do that simply by understanding where they're coming from, acknowledging their emotions and or validating them if they're correct, which is debatable, and letting go of it, not dwelling on it, not focusing on it, not helping them to get what they think they're entitled to, unless they're actually entitled to it. Just a thought. All right, that's all I've got for you right now. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. This is the question of the day. When you have dealt with someone who's been entitled in your life, how did it look? How did it play out? And what were your best ways to help them not act entitled, or for you to deal with them being entitled or acting entitled when they didn't deserve to be? How did you handle it? Let me know your thoughts and your ideas in the comments section below. That's all I've got for you right now. Thanks so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. And hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon. It's my mission to teach others what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. Take care of your body. Take care of your soul. Nurture the real you and introduce him or her to the world. Be comfortable in your own skin and in your place in this world. Take your spot. Take it now. And the universe will take its cue from you. You feel me? If so, subscribe to my channel. Let's get it done together.